Hi everyone, and welcome to Morgane Richardson TV. My name is Morgane and I'm a birth doula and childbirth educator based here in New York City. I'm also the director-elect of the New York City Doula Collective, and I run a series of workshops for birth workers all around supporting LGBTQ families in birth and postpartum. So I am really excited that this is my first video vlog for all of you up on YouTube. In this video, I thought I would share 5 things to avoid saying to a queer family who's trying to conceive. So I'm just going to get right into it. I want to be respectful of your time, but also very grateful that you're all here and watching me chat your ears off. So the first thing that I often hear is, "You're so young. You have so much time to get pregnant. You're not going to have any problems getting pregnant." It's a really wonderful sentiment, and it is true. When you're in your 30s, you are very young. The odds of conceiving are still somewhat high until you hit about 35. That being said, we just don't know what someone's history is. Right? And by that I mean we don't know what someone's medical history is. We don't know what's going on with their eggs or their sperm or whatnot. So while the sentiment is good, and I certainly know that that's a good intention on the part of those who say, "You're so young," it's not necessarily something that's super well received. So good thing to avoid saying to a queer family who's trying to conceive. Number 2 is, don't stress. It'll happen when it's meant to happen. It'll happen on its own time. That is probably one of the most frustrating statements to hear, I think, for anyone who's trying to conceive to hear, right? So certainly stress levels do increase or decrease your odds of getting pregnant. Absolutely, it's better to be in a relaxed environment. It's better just for your overall health on a daily basis. That being said, to say it'll happen on its own time for a queer family isn't necessarily realistic. So for the most part, queer families do have to put a lot of planning into the process of trying to conceive, from choosing a donor, whether it's a sperm donor or egg donor or gestational carrier, all the way to purchasing, right, those eggs or that sperm, and then physically trying to conceive. And so going through ICIs, which is intracervical insemination at home, to IUIs, which is intrauterine insemination, usually done either at home with a midwife or in an OB's office, obstetrician's office, all the way to IVF, in vitro fertilization, right? And the cost of all of those varies certainly, but on the low end of intervention, you're probably looking at someone who's paying about $2,000 to try to get pregnant. So if you just think about spending $1,500 to $2,000 a month on anything, you're probably going to be a little bit stressed. On top of that, your odds of conceiving aren't always high every cycle. So, still there's probably stress added to that. And to say that it's going to happen on its own time, it's not something that's just going to accidentally happen. So again, while good intentions are there, definitely something to avoid saying to a queer family who's trying to conceive. So number three is, "Oh, you're trying to get pregnant? Well, have you tried XYZ acupuncturist or midwife or OBGYN? Or have you tried taking this herb or not this herb?" Obviously, there are some times when queer folks really just do want access to information, and most of us will probably just reach out if we want access to that information. But if we're already in the process, we've most likely done a lot of research, even just to get started. So we've done research around how much sperm costs, where to get it, where the right place to get it is from, what midwife to use or what obstetrician to use, who's going to carry, right? There's been a lot of thought. There's usually a lot of thought that's put into that. So I generally recommend, just if someone asks you for advice, give it. If they're not asking you for advice, then maybe not give it. right? So number 4, this is a tough one too. You're so lucky you don't have kids, or you're so lucky you didn't have kids as early as I did. It's really hard work. I believe you that it is really hard work. And I believe you that there are probably some days when you wish that you could just go on vacation or have that glass of wine with a group of friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, right? Absolutely. But as queer folk who are trying to conceive, I've really put, again, a lot of thought into this process and really do want to be able to have children. And most of the time it has been a really conscious thought and process in order to get to this point, right? So to say you're so lucky, I think is a little bit condescending, and it's not always the truth, because a lot of us don't really feel that lucky. A lot of us feel like luck is when you get pregnant, you know, with someone that you really care about, but quickly, right? So something to avoid saying, certainly to queer families, is you're so lucky you don't have kids right now. And number 5, why don't you just ask a friend to donate? You'd be surprised at the number of times we get that question. There are many, many different reasons for us, and there are many different reasons for other families as to why they choose the donor that they choose. So whether they choose a known donor or go to a sperm bank, choose an unknown donor, it's such a personal question that I think that it's important. I would just avoid asking that. It's just like someone saying, why did you choose to sleep with that guy, right? The other thing I would, say to that is, do you want to donate? No, I'm just kidding. But really, to say, unless you're the friend who wants to donate, and even then that's an awkward thing to offer. But unless you're the friend who wants to donate, we probably have asked the people that we really thought might be a good option. So those are just 5 of the things that queer families who are trying to conceive often hear. I hope that after this video you decide not to say any of those. I always welcome questions, so you're welcome to ask me questions and I will try my best to answer them. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!